Hello, beautiful souls. This is Masami. I hope you're doing well. Today's video is about the new moon this weekend in Gemini, right before we welcome the summer solstice. So let's get started. So let's start with this image of the moon cycles. And many of you have seen this. I use this quite often. But we are right behind this full moon. Right behind that is the new moon. So for the last couple of weeks, we've been taking a journey going on this side of the infinity cycles. And we are going to be celebrating and being invited to the beauty of the darkness over the weekend. And the darkness is so important because it gives us the chance to quiet down who we are, bring stillness back in, and check back in with your own inner rhythm. And moon phases go into these in 2 weeks, waxing and waning time. But we just went through the energy and nutrients gathering to descend, and the rest and healing was happening for the last 2 weeks till we welcome this new moon. And then after the new moon, the energy is going to ascend, rise, and get activated for growth and more of the outward expression. So, but it's so important that we create some kind of pause between these cycles. So the new moon gives us the pause. Also, the full moon gives us a pause. And also those last quarter moon and the first quarter moon as well. But particularly today, I wanted to talk more about this new moon. And the new moon is the time that now you're no longer waning. You have really released, because in the last 2 weeks, you've been releasing and you've been setting things free. And then you've been letting go. So letting go of maybe expectations, assumptions, beliefs, old patterns, old habits. And there's been a lot of kind of a physiological exhales that's been going on. And I love this quote by Hermann Hesse. It says, "Some of us think holding on makes us strong, but sometimes it is letting go." So that's what we've been doing. We're becoming stronger, better at that, not that holding on and hoarding and gaining more and taking more, but it's this release that's been happening, and it's coming to this culmination point. That it's the point where you get to really celebrate what you've been releasing for the last several weeks at the new moon. So new moon is the time for your inward journey. It's the invitation you take from the new moon to go into more of a contemplative type of time. And there's a deeper desires and cravings for introspection and being in the stillness and in the quiet places. It's a time of germination. So you're not trying to dig up the grounds and see what's trying to grow underneath it, but just letting that be there, be still. It's a time you get to really maybe take in and sit with the not knowing liminal space. And it's a beautiful homecoming time when you can begin to see what's inside you. Homecoming means you come home to yourself, because I believe that all sickness is homesickness. So during the new moon time, you get to come home and relieve yourself of that homesickness that you felt, the disconnect that you felt within yourself. And it's a time that you're pulling down the dark skies energy downward, like that tree that I showed you. It's the descending type of energy that is becoming heightened. That's what's happening in the new moon. You've been pulling down, and you're coming to the stillness point. And this is the time, the new moon in particular, but the moon in general, brings out a lot of our early patterns, early childhood patterns. But you're not here to resolve them, to analyze them, to reflect on them so deeply mentally, but it is just to recognize and say, I see you. I see you. That's the kind of practice that you want to bring in for this new moon period. And it's the time that you're harvesting stillness and darkness and pausing, because that's what the new moon is asking of all of us, to bring that quietude. It's the time when you can sit back and really relax into the freedom of not knowing also. And this particular new moon is in Gemini. And the Gemini, it's important that you look into the upper body areas, that you have maybe 2 organs like lungs, or limbs that have 2. So like your arms, maybe even your ears and your eyes as well, but particularly lungs and shoulders and chest area and arms. So I would say the 3rd and 4th chakra areas are going to be the key during the new moon in Gemini. So take some time, maybe doing some movements around the chest, opening and closing the chest area, maybe doing a restorative yoga where you set up some blankets and lie on your spine and allow the chest to open up. Those can be a really, really nice thing to do over this weekend as you are receiving the invitation to go to the darkness with this new moon. And new moon in Gemini really emphasizes the importance of your internal language. So maybe it could be writing, it could be voices that you listen to from the inside out. So it's not so much like plugging it in more guided meditations or podcasts or other things that comes from the external language, but maybe the internal. Maybe it's a good time for you to read over some of the notes that you've taken that you haven't visited. I have lots of notebooks full of all kinds of ideas that I generally don't have the time to revisit. So this will be a great weekend for doing that. And even perhaps like reciting poetry or blessings or mantras that you have written, or you have it posted on your refrigerator. It might be a good time to voice that out. And we need darkness for so many things. And darkness is so important for our healing. It's important for your immune system. It can heal faster in your body. So after you've had injuries or surgeries, it's a great way to heal the tissues. It can regenerate you faster. Darkness is obviously so helpful for your sleep because it helps to produce the hormone and neurotransmitter melatonin from your pineal gland. And it's so vital to resetting your circadian rhythm. It's also so important for your mitochondrial repair and restoration. Mitochondria needs the darkness to do their jobs. And, they're the powerhouses of your body. Without the healthy mitochondria, it's actually almost impossible to be on this earth. So really know that we all need the darkness as much as light. And it's all in this beautiful balance. And like I said, the melatonin production is necessary for our bodies for healing in so many ways, but melatonin cannot produce itself unless we introduce darkness. And for the health of your pineal gland, we need the darkness. It also improves, it's been shown scientifically to help with the hearing issues and the tinnitus when you can introduce darkness, and the healing mental disorders, mood balance, chronic fatigue. So if you're dealing with fatigue and pain, darkness is necessary. Diabetes, especially things like type 2 diabetes, but also Alzheimer's, which is we see in the health world we see it as a type 3 diabetes. The darkness can be a very helpful tool that you can incorporate in lessening the effects, slowing down the effects of the Alzheimer's as well. Addiction, slowing down in the aging process, because it's darkness regenerates our cells, mitochondria, and then even melatonin has been seen as an anti-aging molecule. So, and darkness is when we can detoxify better, like liver, your lungs, even the brain, lymphatic system. The lymphatic system in the brain cannot operate unless in darkness. Lymphatic system does not work, or it's not active during the daylight. So really take a moment, look around, especially your bedroom, and see if you could create a little more of that dark inducing environment to support your whole system. And of course, the darkness is going to be helpful for so many other things from your own body. It's a great way to discern, quiet down, listen to your own inner voice, relaxing and an opening into the potential and possibilities that are still germinating inside. And it's a great moment. It's a great time for you to integrate yourself, that maybe your lost self, fragmented self, maybe the self that has been left behind. There's so many ways that you can connect with yourself. But if we don't bring darkness, it's hard to bring back the marginalized self and the disassociated self and the, like I said, the fragmented self. And the darkness is a beautiful time, not for only for your pineal gland, but for your soul, because your soul gets animated in the darkness. And it's the time when you can quietly contemplate death and dying also. So let's go into the meditation for a moment here. Remember that your soul is longing to be known again. Let's tune into the darkness and let's slow everything down, from the breathing patterns to your heartbeat to the mind. See if you could slow everything down. And let's be with the liminal space for a moment. And then go ahead and gently place your thumbs at the belly. You can even place your thumbs, both thumbs, directly onto your belly button. And it feels comfortable for you, you can keep your eyes closed or slightly open, but looking downward, allowing the darkness to wash over you. Let's begin to breathe in the lunar air, the cool air entering in through your nostrils. The darkness is entering. And then go ahead and breathing out. As you breathe in, begin to drink that cool in the darkness down to your belly button where your hands rest. Drinking that lunar energy inward. Continue to breathe out and begin to notice that there's this warming of the air when you breathe out, coming out of the nostrils as well. So cool lunar energy coming in through the nostrils. Drink that down to the belly button, behind the belly button area. Then as you breathe out, see if you could notice the warming of the air. That's the solar energy returning. Because during the new moon, the sun is brightly shining on the side of the moon, the dark side of the moon that we can never see from this earth. So as you breathe in the lunar energy to the belly button, you're going to meet the solar energy behind that belly button. And then breathe out the solar energy up and out. Let's do that a couple more times. The cooler lunar energy entering in, drinking that up, sipping on that. Bring that down to the belly button, behind your belly button, where it mingles, it creates, meets the solar energy, and then the solar energy rises up and out. Just take another breath or so with your own rhythm in silence. Let's bring our hands together in a namaste position. Let's deep bow towards the silence and the new moon in the darkness. Namaste.